Okay, everyone, welcome back to the Talking with My Hans YouTube channel. We're going to start a new thing here on the channel, a Talking with My Hans FAN-terview, I think is what we're going with. Isn't that right, Luke?
Yes, it is. You know, Talking with My Hans on YouTube texted me, and he was like, I want to do fan interviews. And I was like, well, this is the best possible fan base to do that for. So
there are so many very intelligent and non-biased Star Wars fans on the internet, so this should be a great series.
I mean, if your tweet that's blowing up right now has anything to say about that.
Yeah, we're in the middle of a Twitter crisis, aren't we? Wait till you see one that I'm going to put up later tonight. We might top this one.
Anyway, break the internet.
We're going to break the internet, and it's going to be along that ilk. Anyway, why don't you list off some of the podcasts that you're on, just so that you can have your shameless plug, because they do relate back to Star Wars, and you do talk Star Wars a lot on the podcast.
Yes, we do. So I host two different podcasts. One is called the Freelance Network Podcast, where we bring on content creators of all kinds and just talk about the hard work they put into the various aspects they work in content creating. So we have like musicians, filmmakers, any kind of person who creates stuff, they're on there, and it's just a lot of fun. And then the other podcast that I host is called Chatting Cinema, which, if you can guess by the name, we talk about movies and TV shows, which Ian was on last episode. We did like a 2-part May the 4th special, kind of just gushing about why we love Star Wars and the Clone Wars specifically so much. So Ian was on there, which was a lot of fun. So if you want to find those, I'm sure Ian will throw those in the description. So
no doubt.
Shameless plug, baby.
So you can find those down in the description. I might even put them on screen, the name. I'm sure I will. So that is yet to be seen, though. But if you do check out that Chatting Cinema episode, this is going to be a lot like that, where we riff for about 2 hours about Star Wars. I hope it's not 2 hours, because it's going to be a pain in the butt to edit.
Well,
but
see, to be honest, I mean, Ian and I have been friends almost our entire lives. We could riff about Star Wars for 15 years if we needed to.
That's right.
That's basically half of our conversations are Star Wars, the other half are baseball. So it's just how it goes.
As you can see. That we pointed out in Chatting Cinema, that my whole...
Yes, and the wall, my wall.
Our whole personality is
Star Wars and sports.
Okay, anyway, Luke, let's get into this interview. I really want to talk Star Wars with you. I have a bunch of questions here that I put together. They're pretty broad. You looked over them, but let's just get into it here, because this is what this interview series is going to be all about. Just a couple of dudes talking about Star Wars, relating to the fan base, not stuff that's totally out there and totally not reachable for the fans, because these are questions that every fan can relate to. I'm sure you'll agree.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, so first question. What was the moment in time that you decided that Star Wars was for you? What was that one specific moment where you said, wow, Star Wars is awesome, I'm in this for life?
So I think a lot of fans can actually relate to this, where they were born into being a Star Wars fan, in my family's case, because my dad saw all of them in theaters when they originally came out. Then he had 2 sons, and he shared his love of Star Wars with us. I mean, I'm named Luke, and there's... Yeah,
that kind of seals your fate, doesn't it?
Debate within my family where I say I'm named after Luke Skywalker. My dad agrees. My mom just kind of looks at me like, whatever, if it helps you sleep at night, kid. But instead of being born into it, my first moment, honestly, I remember when this is such a brief memory, but I was 3 years old in the theater seeing The Phantom Menace. And then I remember when I was 5 or 6 years old in the theater seeing Attack of the Clones. But then the moment where I was just like, this is going to be my thing the rest of my life, I love it so much, is I got to leave school early the day Revenge of the Sith came out, because my dad wanted to take us to see it in the afternoon before all the night showings. So we got to leave school early to see Star Wars, which was in 2nd grade, you were the coolest kid, because they were like, Luke, you're getting picked up. And all day I was telling my friends, I'm going to see Revenge of the Sith.
And that's wild, because your dad's a teacher, so he was just as excited as he
which
got
also,
to leave
you
school
were in that
too.
2nd grade class too.
I was there. I don't remember you going to see Revenge of the Sith. I would have said, hey, at least let me.
Yeah, you would have asked to tag along, but yeah, no. And also, kind of along the lines of my podcast, this is what I do for a living. Star Wars inspired my career. The whole reason why I took a class in 8th grade called TV production. I went to college for this. Everything I do now is because I love Star Wars, and because I want to direct something or write something Star Wars one day. So it's pretty much without it, I don't know where my life would be,
I think that there's a lot of people out there that have that same answer. There's a lot of people that watched Star Wars as a kid or just got into Star Wars and realized, like, wow, movie making is definitely for me. Like, I definitely want to get into production and do that sort of thing. But you touched on how you think that you're named Luke because of Luke Skywalker. Your mom is a different story. But is that the character that's had the biggest impact on your life, you think? Or do you think it was someone else?
So, honestly, now that we have such a plethora of material from Star Wars, the thing I think it's best at is creating characters that are relatable, because honestly, like, I mean, Luke is my answer of like just growing up following his hero's journey to now seeing him in the sequel trilogy. Luke Skywalker's my guy. Like, I love him so much. But there's so many characters that have just had a profound effect on me. I mean, you look at Qui-Gon Jinn, somebody who literally went against the Jedi Order and tried to teach the Jedi it's okay to love and it's okay to have attachments, and like that was just something I learned from a young age of just like, wow, that's huge. Or Leia is such an influential character that's just like, she never takes no for an answer. She's the toughest character in every scene she's in. And like in 1977, you didn't see that a lot with women in film.
No, and that's a good point that you make, because Star Wars does a good job of portraying these characters that are like, it's okay to be your own person. And Leia and Qui-Gon are two really good examples of that. You know, Leia is supposed to be this princess and is a dainty girl, and she's not. Like, she's a badass. She's out there shooting stormtroopers and leading rebellions and, you know, flying stuff. Like, she is bad. Like, she's not who she's supposed to be. And so is Qui-Gon. Like, Qui-Gon's supposed to be this reserved Jedi, you know, monk-like, no love, none of that. And he's like, it's okay to be yourself. Like, it's okay to be out there and not be who other people think you are. I was like, those are two really good examples.
And
that I would
another one to throw into the pot, which this is shout out to Ian for convincing me to do this. Cal Kestis is my guy.
Cal Kestis, how about that guy?
He is such a relatable, interesting character. I won't spoil it because this is my public service announcement. If you are a Star Wars fan, buy that game and play it. Jedi Fallen Order is fantastic.
Buy that game now because it's cheaper than it was when I bought it, and now it's like worth it.
Yeah, now it's worth it. But Cal is a fantastic character that I'm really excited to see more of. I think from the second I saw he was a ginger like me, I was like, yep, I'm down. I already love Cal.
#relatable.
Relatable, but then actually learning his story and the way you play through and what I like to call his PTSD moments of relearning the Force, and also the fact that he had that special connection with the Force where not all Jedi do, where he can sense those Force echoes. And like, I always just thought, like, as I'm playing through this game, this guy's story is crazy. Like, this was happening the same time Solo was, pretty much, or like something around there. Oh, baby.
We lost you.
At what part did I cut out?
I don't know. You were going off on a riff about Cal Kestis and how he's so
Well,
awesome.
I remember you commenting about him being a ginger. So from the from the second I saw Cal Kestis was a ginger, I was like, this is my guy. But playing through that story, he was such an interesting Jedi. I mean, like, this isn't a spoiler because you do this like early in the game, but throughout you basically have these like PTSD moments for Cal because he's a Padawan survivor of Order 66.
Mm-hmm.
So him relearning the Force and reconnecting with the Force throughout the game was just such an interesting story to me. And his connection to the Force, where he's able to sense those echoes and sense what's happened just by touching objects. I thought he was a really compelling, interesting, and new character that we're going to get more of. So
you've been going off on Fallen Order for a couple of days now, praising its high glory. Wait, it's a great game, don't get me wrong, and I cannot wait for that second game to come out. Do you think that Fallen Order's become your favorite Star Wars thing, or is there something from the past that holds that spot right now?
I mean, video game probably,
Mm-hmm.
because like the only other video games that rival it in my brain are Star Wars Podracing, because it's just ridiculously fun, which is being remastered soon. So I'm gonna play that again. Then obviously like Battlefront 2 is iconic, like the PS2 one. Oh my god, hours spent on that game. And also the Lego Star Wars games, every single one is just ridiculously fun. And we got the new one coming out, which
why are those so
may
fun?
or may not be on this channel with some streaming action.
You don't even need to say that. Like, it's gonna be on this channel. That's a fact. Yeah. #fact.
Yeah.
Lego Star Wars, I'm Talking With My Hans, is about to blow up in December whenever they decide to put this game out.
It's gonna be like 4 of us crammed in Talking With My Hans room playing it.
You know, I want to get into this next question because I think this is one of those questions that everybody's going to have a different answer for, because there's a lot of different worldviews that come into Star Wars. And I wanted to ask you, what Star Wars experience for you was probably the most surprising? Surprisingly good, surprisingly bad.
Yeah.
What was the most surprising experience you had in Star Wars?
You know, it's kind of hard to pick one, because I feel like a lot of them happen and they're not like these grand moments, but looking back on it, it's like, oh my God. Because
awesome.
Like, I remember when we saw The Force Awakens the first time, that was probably, maybe Avengers Endgame rivals it, but like aside from those, it's probably the best movie theater experience I've ever had, of just like going into a movie with such pure bliss. Like,
that was
just
crazy.
So excited. Yeah.
Seeing Han getting stabbed in the chest was just like, that was definitely one of the most, because it wasn't spoiled for me. For one of my roommates,
it wasn't spoiled for me either.
So seeing that, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you just did that. I definitely have to agree with you.
That movie just had a lot of moments like that.
Yeah.
Like from seeing Luke in the last second and just being like, we thought he was going to be back. And then that 2-year waiting for Last Jedi to finally see Luke back. Like, that was crazy. But The Force Awakens just in general is such like a cultural event that like you remember where you were when you saw the first trailer. Because Ian and I were in our high school geeking out, watching it with like 15 people. Like, then you also remember when you saw it in theaters, because it was nuts. I mean, I saw it in theaters 4.5 times.
You know what? Now that you say that, probably the most surprising part, maybe for you, maybe for me, was when we were sitting there and Rey calls to the saber and it flies out of the snow and it goes into her hand. I remember sitting there thinking, oh my God, that was crazy.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's because, okay, Star Wars is beautiful at making movie trailers because they don't give away the plot of their movies. Because if you watch that first Force Awakens trailer and every single trailer leading up to it, Finn's the Jedi. In your mind, Finn is the Jedi. And then in the movie, it's like Rey's the Jedi. And you were like, oh my God, you did not see that coming.
And like, I don't know, like, how we didn't see that. Like, she uses the Force mind trick. Like, where were we? Like, what were we watching? And then all of a sudden,
we were just so excited about John Boyega Jr. being a Jedi that we were just like, let's go. Like, that sold in our brains, which Finn ended up being super dope for the character he was. So I'm not mad. And also, I absolutely adore Rey. So, like, I'm okay with that. But another Star Wars moment that was just surprising in a good way was our senior trip, senior year of high school. We went to Disney World, which now it's like, imagine if we got to go now when Galaxy's Edge is there, because we wouldn't have went to any other park. We would have stayed all 5 days at Galaxy's Edge.
No doubt. We would have been there from sunrise to sunset.
But when we went back in 2015, because we're old and we're 5 years out of high school, the Star Wars section of the park was relegated to one section of Hollywood Studios. And I just remember walking down like the Hollywood Studios, because it had like all those old-timey diners and like just the 50s vibes, and then you turn a corner and it's freaking Endor, and there's there's grass everywhere. You see like an AT-ST and like you see a speeder bike, and then you walk in and C-3PO is just like talking to you, and R2-D2's there at Star Tours, which the phrase of that senior trip, well, one of them was never forgetty, but the other one was gotta get Star Tours. And that's because I was so excited for Star Tours. It was my first time in Disney, and we went on that ride, and oh my God, because it feels like you're in freaking Star Wars. Like, and I know Galaxy's Edge does so much more now, but Star Tours is still just a beautiful concept to me. It's so fun. And
you're gonna have to come back on so we can tell the whole Star Tours story. You're gonna have to come back on.
That would be a good one
story, because that's like that would add another 2 hours.
Yeah, and we need Mitch too. And we need Mitch too.
I think Mitch is gonna have to make an appearance on the Talking with My Hans FANterview.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's shift gears here. Did you see that? That was
that nice move.
That was almost like one of those. This is a little bit more of a somber topic, but what Star Wars experience for you is probably the most disappointing? So we're gonna go from probably a high here, senior trip, Force Awakens. What one was probably the most disappointing for you?
So it's kind of like the same thing, but it happens 3 different times. So for me, my biggest thing is like telling somebody to like something or not. Like, I hate that. Where like I don't love The Last Jedi, but I like it. But then there's people who are like, how could you like that piece of trash? Ruin Johnson can't make a movie. And I'm just like, all right, watch Knives Out and then tell me that. But anyway, that's just a different topic. But if you don't like it, that's A-okay. I just hate it when people tell me how to feel about things or tell others. So like my least favorite Star Wars moment is definitely the backlash after The Last Jedi and after Rise of Skywalker. Because you know what? If you didn't like the movie, I'm really sorry. If you liked the movie, I'm really happy for you. It's such a toxic fan base at times, and not everybody, because there's a lot of really great people in it. But in general, there's just so much negativity, especially when it should be positive. And like, if you don't like it, then just don't bring other people down for liking it. Like, I liked Rise of Skywalker and I liked The Last Jedi. I am in a minority. I'm in a small group that can say that sentence. And I didn't love either of them, but I loved Force Awakens, you know?
It definitely is disappointing not to be part of the fandom, but like to deal with that on a regular basis. And like I'm very grateful for all my subscribers on YouTube and all my followers on Twitter, which are definitely part of, some are the I hate The Last Jedi type, and like I appreciate their patronage, but if you really hate it that much, it's time to just
move on.
Put it behind you. Like, if you don't like it, you don't like it. And you know what?
You're absolutely allowed to not like it.
Oh my God, yeah.
Absolutely allowed. But, like, there's just no reason for somebody to be like, hey, you don't have the same opinion as me. You are stupid. Like,
yeah, just move on.
Yeah. I mean, that stuff just gets to me. It's like, this is all supposed to be about fun and enjoying Star Wars. And you may not like everything that comes out. I mean, I didn't like Resistance, even though Dave Filoni's other two shows are beautiful to me. People like Resistance, and it's good for kids. So you know what? Great. Enjoy it. Enjoy that. You know,
we have this conversation at least a couple times a month. Just we run over the topic, but the one question on this list that I think everybody, besides the surprising answer that everybody's going to have a different answer to, is if you were given a blank check by Disney and Lucasfilm, if Kathleen Kennedy rips a check out of her checkbook and puts it down in front of you and says, put a number there, what Star Wars story are you writing?
See, since I want to make Star Wars stories, this is the hardest question you could possibly
This is like your pitch.
Yeah. Well, the one I've been thinking about quite a lot lately, and I've talked with my brother Jordan about this because he's a diehard Star Wars fan as well.
We're going to have to get him on this too.
We do, yeah. But the current pitch that I'm working on, because if you're watching the Disney Behind the Gallery series on Disney Plus, which is behind the scenes of The Mandalorian, I was really inspired by something that Dave Filoni said in the second episode about Legacy. And he said, Star Wars at the end of the day is about hope. That is the main thing you need to think about. So when I'm looking at it, it's like, if I want to tell a Star Wars story, that's it. That's what I want to drive home. And something to me that has always been one of my favorite aspects of Star Wars is pod racing. And I just think that it's such an interesting thing because it's like NASCAR of Star Wars on the perfect planet for it to be on Tatooine. So and my brother and I have been talking about writing this now during the quarantine. I want to do a TV show about pod racing, but the whole premise of it is that how it's different after Anakin changed pod racing on that planet. Because Anakin was a human child who won a pod racing race against Sebulba and a bunch of other really experienced pod racers. So my kind of idea for it now is that, like, there's a slave kid who gets bought by somebody, and the person ends up basically being like a benefactor. He's like, I'm going to build you a pod racer because I know you're skilled. Like, I know you can do this. It's going to be like a teenager and something like that. But that's kind of my idea of it, and also just to see another side of Tatooine that we don't get to see. Because whenever we get to Tatooine, like, you get this feeling too where, like, we leave and you want more. Like, it's just...
Yeah, for the amount of times that we go there, it's always like, dang, like, I always feel like I'm missing something there. Yeah, this is a good idea.
Yeah, it's like,
this is a good idea. I might give you a little check for this. When I start rolling in that YouTube money, we're going to start making this show.
Yeah, we got to get some more subscribers on this channel, get you partnered, boy.
Where's that YouTube money at? Like, where's it at? We got to make a show here.
Yeah, well, see, that show is like kind of like a passion thing for Star Wars, of like, I would absolutely love to do pod racing and on Tatooine, because like Luke is my boy, so like to get to film on Tatooine would be so fun. because like I might even. Oh, did you freeze again? Nope.
No, you're good. Keep going.
You there?
No, we're going.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you froze. And then also the other thing that I would freaking love a blank check for is just like, I know I'm like a 23-year-old that's only directed one short film that's 21 minutes long, but like, give me a blank check. Let me make a goddamn High Republic movie with Saoirse Ronan and Timothée Chalamet and like start ripping new hearts out with actual good romance plots. Cause like, I'm a sucker for a good romance movie and like a good romance plot melted into a non-romance movie. And the one Jedi character, I forget her name, literally looks like Saoirse Ronan. Like, just
see,
you know
I'm
which
gonna have
one.
to look at a picture.
You know which one I'm talking about, though. And like, she's a phenomenal actress. I think she is extremely talented. So, and also they haven't talked about High Republic movies yet. So it's like
they're coming. You gotta know they're coming.
Well, yeah. But I don't even know what the material is, but just give me a check and let me go. Because I freaking love Jedi, too.
Like, I'm all about a good love story. You know that. Just to appear out of frame, I have Lost Stars, which is like, that was a good, that one was a good one.
And a fun little Star Wars side story. This past Valentine's Day, Talking with My Hans couldn't be with his girlfriend because she was at school. So me and him and his little brother hung out on Valentine's Day, and we watched the best romance movie on this planet. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
That's
classic.
That's a classic romance movie. Poor George couldn't hold down a wife. There's no wonder he couldn't write a romance movie.
You know, what gets me every time is the CGI pear, and when she bites, and it's like not even.
You can just see it. You know, it's not even close.
Yeah, gotta love romance in Star Wars.
So speaking of things on my shelf and some things behind you, what is your most shameless Star Wars purchase? You can see that this that cost a pretty penny back in the day. There's a couple things up here that cost me a pretty penny, but everybody has that one purchase where you're like, I shouldn't have bought that, but I really needed it. Whoa.
You know, they're like in that corner. You can't see them right now. It's funny you asked me that question because your mom judged me when I bought it because I was in Target and I saw her. I have the Black Series, both of Luke's lightsabers, the blue and green one. And I literally remember I was in the Star Wars row. She was walking by the Star Wars row. And like, we're from a small town, so you just run into everybody always. So I'm picking up the Black Series green lightsaber, putting it in the cart. And she goes, "Don't buy that, Luke." And I just look up and see Talking with My Hans' mom. And I'm just like, here we go. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm getting judged right now. But because, I mean, they're not cheap, you know? I mean,
they're not.
So that's not... It's not great, but also I knew that question was coming, so I grabbed something to show because I thought it'd be hilarious. So one day I was in New York with some friends from high school, and we were at this one like Japanese like media bookstore, and it was just cool looking around all the stuff. And I saw these, and I just bought them. They're Japanese versions of the Clone Wars cartoon that's not canon. You can't play them on like American DVD players, so I've never even used them, but they were like $5 each. They just look really freaking cool.
Yeah, they look great.
Yeah, they look great, but they're literally just been sitting on my Star Wars shelf, like never once been used.
Listen, you just, when you see it, you gotta have it.
You're right.
Star Wars is just one of those things where like you go into Target and you see the Black Series, you're like, oh,
yeah.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Yep. Well, you know, a Galaxy's Edge thing that I know I'm gonna buy the second I walk into that park. They have the freaking chance cubes from episode 1. I need that.
That's a good time.
Yeah.
See, I like that you're thinking ahead. I like that your monetary journey is planned out with Star Wars in mind.
My wallet weeps at the thought of going to Galaxy's Edge.
One day we'll go there and we'll vlog the experience, but that's when we get the YouTube
those
money.
vlogs are going to be legendary.
That's when we get the YouTube money. It's just what we're waiting on at this moment.
Hell yeah.
All right, let's start wrapping this up. One of the best questions I think that anybody can be asked about Star Wars, and one that you've sort of already answered, but let's go over it again. What way has Star Wars impacted your life as a whole?
So, I mean, I said it, but I'll say it again.
Gotta say it again.
It directly influenced my career path. I mean, I want to direct Star Wars movies. I want to direct Star Wars shows. I want to write them. I want to just have my hands on them. I want to be the best boy. I'll literally be anything on the set. I don't care.
I'll be a chair.
Yeah. I'll get Hayden Christensen's coffee if he's on a new show. and like read lines with him in his trailer and tell him how to act better. Boom roasted.
I
love
watch
him.
it. Watch it. We gotta
I love
put this
him,
on the
though.
internet. You gotta put this on the internet.
Well, listen, it's with love. It really is. And like, I'll, you know what I'd love to do is recreate the pear scene with him. Anyways, so Star Wars is just like where I want to end up in my life, of like working for Lucasfilm, working for ILM, like something like that. Just, I would absolutely love to be directing Star Wars movies, and I would love to direct more than just Star Wars movies, but like that's one of the things that I've always wanted to do. And something that I touched on earlier is Star Wars means hope. And I think that just being a part of this fan base, growing up with this franchise, I mean, I was literally born into it. Here I am 23 years later, still obsessed with it, still love it. I mean, it's some of my earliest memories, some of my favorite memories. I've built friendships off of it with you.
Yeah, I was going to say, who knows if we would have been friends if we didn't run it in Star Wars together.
Yeah, because, I mean, neither of us were, like, super into baseball yet when we first became friends. It was Star Wars that brought us together. So, yeah, no, I mean, I just think that Star Wars is one of those franchises. I don't know if there is another one like it right now that's been able to sustain this for so long. Because Harry Potter had its time where it could do that, and it still does. And Marvel's been doing that as of recently. But you're talking about something from 1977 to 2020.
Yeah, nearly 50 years.
Impact on people. You know, I mean, it's Empire's 40th anniversary this year. Shout out to Empire, beautiful movie.
Crazy. It's crazy that for almost 50 years that movie can just completely captivate audiences. Yeah. I mean, and not just like, oh, I like this movie, like completely grab hold of an audience. And, you know, these movies, you look back at A New Hope, even today, I mean, it does not hold up to today's standards, but it still is like one of those movies where you're like, God, that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, my friend Sully, who's on my podcast, Freelance Network, a lot, sent me a picture.
We'll get to the podcast at the end. Don't you worry.
I know. Well, it's just relevant to the story. He sent me a picture of a Star Wars vinyl that he found, and on the vinyl was just the final two pieces of the score from A New Hope, which happens to be its throne room and end scene, like final celebration. That's one of my favorite pieces of music I've ever heard in my life. Like, Star Wars, it's not just the movies, it's not just the books. Literally, the music gets me so excited and so happy. Like, just the day The Force Awakens came out, I was driving to a college final. It was my first semester in college, and I was driving to take a final, and I was blaring the Star Wars soundtrack on the way there. I took the final, and I sprinted out of the building, went right to your house, and we watched Clone Wars until it was time for our movie. But, like, just Star Wars is just one of those things where I can always count on it. I can always rely on it, and it's just there. And even if I don't ever get to direct a Star Wars movie, you know damn well I'm going to be there opening night of all of them if I can.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Luke, thank you so much for coming on. How about you plug your podcast one more time so the viewers can go and check them out?
Right now on the screen, nice little shameless plug hashtag over my face. So, so one more time, my one podcast, the Freelance Network, by content creators for content creators.
Woohoo, with the tagline.
Yeah. So it's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Podcasts, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. And it's just a fun podcast, and it's just supposed to shout out people who work hard on things, you know, that's what we're about there. And then the other one is Chatting Cinema, which you can find on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff as well. And if you like movies, if you like Star Wars, they did a whole series, actually, a Star Wars retrospective leading up to Rise of Skywalker, which I was on 3 of those episodes. And then there's some May 4th episodes. Star Wars just always gets brought up on that podcast. I mean, there's actually a really funny debate episode of that one because we do debates on there, and it was best film franchise, and I had to argue against Star Wars. And if you want to watch me be in pain arguing against Star Wars, it's hilarious. You can find that on there. So
that hurts, my guy.
I'd appreciate it if you check those out. But also, if you're watching this and you're not subscribed to Talking with My Hans, what are you doing? This guy's lit.
I don't know what they're doing. Listen, if you're not following me on Twitter, we got right now.
There's some hot debates sparking on that Twitter
We got over
page.
700 followers on Twitter. So if you want to go and join that community, you can. But this is the community that matters. This is where all the good content's being put. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. You'll be the first to find out when I post something new. Luke,
click that notification bell.
No, you don't have to do that. Just give me the subscribe. Let's not push these people. It's only been a couple months.
I'm just reciting all the YouTubers I know.
Luke, once again, thank you for being on.
Yep. Thank you for having me on as your first guest on the channel, Ian. It means a lot.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.